If you're positive, you better bless this space. If you are negative, you better get up on my face. If you are positive, you better bless this space. If you are negative, you better get up on my face. If you are positive, you better bless our space. If you are negative, you better get up on our faces. Yay!
Period. Good morning, well, I guess it's afternoon because this video comes out in the afternoon. Hi, everybody. I'm sorry.
I'm Space.
Welcome if you are new, and if not, welcome back to another episode of Witches and Weebs, where the otaku lifestyle, spirituality, fandom, and witchcraft all come together to create a harmonious community that is witches and weebs. We dive into all things mystical, magical, pop culture, woo-woo, witchy, weeby, all of that under the sun. So if you are here, thank you for joining us to our journey. Oh my God, English is hard. Thank you for joining us on our journey to betterment, and we hope that you have as much fun as we do. Hello, welcome.
Yay!
To another Witchy Wednesday, because
Yes,
we're
we are
witches and we're magic.
We are doing magic. Well, we're talking about being a very specific type of witch today, which is called a hearth witch or the house witch. This is making your house as magical as possible and making your entire house a safe space. Well, of course, why would you want to possibly look into being a house witch? Is because maybe you're disabled and you don't leave the house very much, and this is your safe space of where you're going to live, practice magic, do whatever you need to. Or maybe you just like the idea of doing mundane things as they might be looked at magically. Yes, witches should. Yeah, you're just a homebody. It really doesn't matter. Like, whatever excuse you want to use to make your house magical, use it and make it magical. You don't listen to anything I gotta say.
But Space, why are we here then?
That's a very good point. Why are we here? Anyway. Well, like I said, witches should be enjoying their time in nature. Some things are like not possible. And some people just don't have access to like regular nature. If you're an apartment dweller or like a city dweller. Yeah, some people just don't got access to the natures. So making your house magical is about as close as we can get to still being in tune with nature. I do have to ask if any of you are actually out here being hearth witches. What are some activities that you associate with being a hearth witch, or practices or rituals you guys would be interested in sharing with us? Please let us know down in the comments.
Me personally, I love me some feng shui, and I love me some interior decorating, and I love putting
color magic.
Everywhere.
Color magic and having nature in your house with plants is a great way to get around not being able to go out in nature as well. Using color magic to interior decorate, feng shui to interior decorate. I wish my apartment was better built so I could actually feng shui this shit.
Amen. Amen.
So I do want to say a lot of my information comes from this book in particular, The House Witch by Aaron Murphy. His cock. This is all I have to say. That's exactly what the name is on there.
You were not lying. That is wild.
It's a well-written book, and it goes over quite a few different cultural aspects. It references various deities of different cultures. So I feel like it's a very good recommendation to get you started. It's just a very basic foundation. It is not the end-all be-all to hearth witchery. This is just a good intro book, a good beginner book to wet your nose with and be like, yeah, I want to look into more of this.
Yep.
We're going to start talking about what exactly is hearthcraft and what is a hearth witch. A hearth witch is a witch that includes both nature and home activities as a part of their practice. This can also sometimes include a nature aspect if you have such as a lawn or a garden. Mm-hmm. That'll probably also be a part of your hearth witchery. You can look at these sets of practices as being eclectic, but it is a very specific assortment of other types that come to make up a house witch, because these are things that you can be involved in green witchery and kitchen witchery, because the kitchen is very important in hearthcraft as well.
Right.
The hearthcraft is all about strengthening the home itself, and making it a specific sacred space. And this is the whole house being sacred. Hearth witches share some qualities with kitchen witcheries. Oh my goodness. English is hard. Kitchen witches, green witches, and hedge witches. And that means like the veil and all that. I'm talking proper hedge witches, which we've referenced in another video somewhere up here. We gotta start actually linking those. And these can sometimes overlap within the same witch. These practices carry all a very earthy, folky quality and are very, including a love of herbs and cooking and medicine making and making tea and cleaning and all of that stuff being made into magical, less mundane things.
In short, hearth witches they're magically mundane. They do the everyday qualities. Housewife duties aside, because we don't glorify housewife lifestyle unless it's a good, positive, not traditional lifestyle. But all of those cleaning, cooking, decorating, all of those mundane home things make up most of the time.
Things like literally these are things that people would consider mundane, and there's no possible using kitchen utensils.
I understand. I actually felt that on a very deep spiritual level.
Oh my god, I need to do calisthenics before we start talking here, because that was rough. Using kitchen utensils as charms, knitting, sewing, candle making, baking. I'm halfway to a fucking hearth witch. I just dawned on me. I'm a baker. Cooking. We also love to cook in this house. We actually just made enchiladas for the first time, and they were really fucking good, actually.
I could go for some enchiladas.
Making tea, making their own herbal blends, making their own herbal remedies. Not replacing traditional medicine or Western medicine, but adding preventative traditional medicine on top of it, because preventative stops you from needing the other stuff.
Layers.
But once you need the other stuff, unfortunately, you have to take the other stuff.
Yep. Don't be stubborn. Please don't be stubborn.
So keys to know in hearthcraft is that you are going to want a hearth. Your home is going to be your sacred space, but you are going to want a spiritual center that is comparable to a hearth. The sacred hearth, I'm going to read from the book here. The sacred hearth. The hearth symbolizes sacred space where you can be yourself, where you are secure, and where you can be open. The hearth is a wellspring, a place where people can recharge, where they go for comfort on a basic level. It is a place where you can access energy, wisdom, and power more easily than anywhere else within your home and outside of it, for that matter. So, a hearth is what you want to think about as like kind of like a living room or a fire, or somewhere that is actually a hearth is what would be the fireplace in olden days. So you don't have to have an actual fireplace, but like if you spend a lot of time in the living room, doesn't have to be an actual one, but it can be like, make it visual. Think old Victorian houses and their fireplaces, the heart of the home filled with energy, with light, with the fire. So you want something like that, a place in your home where you can constantly recharge your energy. It can be a spiritual fire in your mind's eye, a candle you light in the living room. From there, you get the hearth fire. This is where I would bring in the candle specifically. Mm-hmm. But it can be in your mind's eye as well.
Another thing that I think would be good is if you have a TV in your living room, if you don't have an actual fireplace, what people like to do is they like to pull up those videos that simulate a fireplace and have that energy also in their living room, because it makes you feel all warm and toasty. It's the theater of the mind. You get to hear the crackling and then you feel the warmth because you're visualizing it actually being a fireplace.
That would help you with practicing visualization as well, because you could just sit in front of the fire, YouTube, and fucking feel that. So I think that'd be a very good visualization practice if you want. Fire is considered sacred within almost every culture, because what fire destroys, it also brings life, because when a forest goes through a forest fire, what does it do afterwards but grow back stronger and greener because of all that carbon in the fucking soil, all those nutrients that all those dead plants have given. So it works out best for everybody. So what fire destroys, it also brings life. So the role of the hearth fire in the home, in times past, fire played a very important role in fire in a home. It would be often kept warm. They would keep it lit almost 24/7. It would only go out for specific holidays and specific times. It would mean a lack of warmth, lack of food, lack of protection, so forth, so on. So the hearth fire was a very important part of HEARTHCRAFT. So, God, I'm so bad at speaking. So in Ireland, I'm going to use this for reference. In Ireland, the only time the house fire was intentionally allowed to go out was at Beltane, a festival that modern spiritual past place at the beginning of May. A main fire was lit at Tara, a spiritual center in Ireland, by the king or the druids, and from this fire all the other household fires were symbolically relit. This practice demonstrated unity throughout the kingdom, as well as recognizing the spiritual power of the monarch or druids. So that is how they revered fire. They kept their fires going 24/7. This is where I would talk about the mind's eye spiritual heart fire, is where you sit, or like the YouTube. You can just run as much as you're at home. Run that fire YouTube if you're not watching anything.
Right.
And let it continually run whenever you're in the house. Let it cleanse your energy. There are various deities that are associated with the home and the hearth, from Hestia, which is Greek, the goddess of the hearth. There is the Roman counterpart to Hestia is Vesta. Brigid, which is the Iris one. We have Chao Wang is the Chinese god of the hearth, also known as a kitchen god. Tamu Fuchu is the Japanese goddess of the heart. We have another goddess, Japanese god of the cooking fire and stove. Frigga is one of the main deities of the Norse mythology and is also a domestic goddess.
I love that there are so many deities just dedicated to mundane things, and people have the audacity to say that mundane things can't be magical. Yes, it can. It absolutely can.
It absolutely can. The mundane is most definitely magical if you make it magical. If you think of cleaning as cleansing, then suddenly, oh wow, it's cleansing.
Wow.
How crazy that how it works.
When you're cooking in the kitchen, you're quite literally doing a spell with your food. That's mundane and that's magical. Crazy. Another
important part of HEARTHCRAFT is the cauldron. Granted, typically the cauldron used to be just a cooking pot. Now it has morphed into a little friend that witches use. But the cauldron was originally just where stews and soups were made and various things were made, and some cultures still use that as their main cooking material today, especially the ones out in the sticks. Nowadays you can get a Dutch oven one for literally your spell crafting recipes and stuff like that, and then get a mini one for witchcraft, and it's far more convenient, like the one that Mia showed earlier, the little teapot. You can get stuff like that for your witchy stuff. That's much more convenient than doing anything in a big fat fucking pot.
It is.
Since we don't really cook in our cauldrons anymore, I'm going to list off a couple ways you can use your cauldron in your modern craft, because it is a little hard to come up. We have plenty of uses for fire, but it is a little hard to come up with uses for a cauldron. Candle holders. Fill it with sand, a non-clumping kitty litter, or I use salt. Place one of those little, just cut out a piece of paper, like parchment paper, and put it on the bottom, on the top of the sand or whatever. Yeah. And make sure it's flat, and just light a candle right on top. Incense burner, again, same thing. I use salt and mine. You can use your cauldron as a offering tool. Again, you only have to leave it out for a couple hours. You don't have to leave it out for even a full day. A couple hours, the spirits will take what they need and they'll be deuces. We're out.
Right.
Whenever you're cooking, sprinkle a little pinch of the herbs into your cauldron as an offering from your meal. Place the cauldron in your shrine in the center of your kitchen, because HEARTHCRAFT also does talk about kitchen shrines, on top of having your hearth figured out and enshrined somehow. So you have 2 shrines as a hearth practitioner. When you place the cauldron in your shrine, you'll visualize it sucking out all the negative energy, and then you take that outside and be like, bye-bye.
Thank you.
You can also, if you grow stuff in a garden, like some HEARTHCRAFT practitioners would do, you take some flowers from your garden and place them in your cauldron as a offering.
That's a good idea.
So, there are plenty of deities to fucking work with from various cultures. You can find one of your own. There's also one from Lithuania, another Eastern European one, whose names I'll learn. I'll learn eventually, but it's asking a lot of me at 4 o'clock in the morning. I do have to say that this book has very good ways of dedicating your shrines and rituals for shrine working. It tells you where and suggests where you would put your shrine, like above a door frame, if you have a like narrow shelf above a door frame like some old houses do.
Yeah.
Any kind of wall shelves, a series of narrow shelves running through some houses have those plate rails that go above your counters, and you can put like little knickknacks and stuff like that.
I know what you're talking about.
It'd be a perfect way for a perfect place for a shrine.
Oh, we kind of have one of those. On top of our stove, we have this shelf that we put all of our seasonings on.
I was just about to say, some on the back of your stove, if you have a shelf, that's also a great way to put a kitchen shrine.
Yep.
That's a perfect place to put a kitchen shrine.
We got all these seasonings lined up. I'm gonna start doing that.
In hanging baskets, if you don't have anywhere to put it, just hang something up. You can patch it. Who cares? Say goodbye to your deposit. Most of the time, though, to be honest, if you patch the hole, most people won't even fucking notice, and you'll get your deposit back.
Or they'll find something else to take your deposit with.
Or that, and they'll take the most asinine reason too, so it won't even be your fault, dude.
It literally wouldn't be your fault.
Also, in any kind of like hanging pot rack, or any kind of like, I know there's some like seasoning stands, you can do stuff like that. That'd be a great way to put your kitchen shrine. But yes, you'll have your one, as a house witch, you'll have your one hearth shrine, which is like your living room shrine, or like how we have it is I have my TV up on a thing, and then in front of the TV I have like little decorations and stuff that would be my hearth.
Yeah.
Because I am a little bit of a house witch, I think. Or at least I want to be. I want my house to be sacred. I have a lot of protections up in here.
That's good though. Layers. It's all about layers. We have recently learned that layers are key to powering your spells and making the intention the most known for the best results that you're trying to get.
Yes. Layers, 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 layers. The way I would say that if you want to look into hearth witchery, you might be a hearth witch, this might be the way that you want to practice if you prefer your sacred space to be uncomplicated, such as neutral, simple tools, stone, some wood, perhaps a few herbs and some salt, very simplistic. You like things that are multi-purpose. Rose vinegar can easily work as a headache remedy, a countertop spray, and a salad dressing. So everything that you use as a person is multi-purpose. You might be interested in a hearthcraft. You are drawn to the healing arts such as bodywork, midwifery, energy healing, and herbalism. You might be into hearthcraft. You love learning about herbs and healing plants. You might be into hearthcraft. your garden teaches you more about magic and nature than any book you've ever read, you might be into hearthcraft. You practice daily mindfulness where you just do things and you just be in the moment. Don't let your mind wander. Don't daydream. Oopsies, I do that a lot.
Me too.
If you practice daily mindfulness, if you be in the moment, if you don't let your mind wander, if you meditate while you clean or you do stuff like that, you might be into hearthcraft. If you believe that even small acts such as watering the plants can transform the mundane into magical, you are probably a little bit into hearthcraft. You also, if you believe in the power of songs and trance, you might be into hearthcraft. They are very dance around their house, nude, singing songs kind of types. We were born nude. That's all I have to say.
There was probably once upon a time where people walked around naked because clothes just were not a thing. Okay, nobody was looking at her like, ooh, ooh, ooh.
History lesson. Let me roll my sleeves up right now. In ancient Egypt, nudity was not viewed that way because they literally walked out with boobies out. They would wear sheer clothing, titties out. But I do have to say that is pretty much all I have for you today. This is a very beginner basic course of how to start getting into hearthcraft. Again, I recommend this book. Here you go. The House Witch. There's their name, because I don't know if it's a she, a he, or a they, them. So we're just going to go with a they, them.
It's the safest route. I want to say that on top of the mundane being magical, there's so many house activities that you can do that you could still be considered a hearth witch. You don't have to do all cooking, and you don't have to do all cleaning, and you don't have to do all gardening. You can do things like crocheting, or I want, quite literally, for a better umbrella term, any sort of artistry. If you are an artisan that likes to create, who likes to do art, knitting, sewing, working with resin, carpentry, all of that
anything
stuff.
that you do at your house can be a part of your hearth witchery. 100%. Sewing already was on the list. Candle making already on the list. So obviously any kind of artisan that you make with your hands can be a part of your hearth witchery for sure. Especially if you make any kind of like oils or your own kind of cleansing sprays, all kind of stuff like that would be a part of your practice. Yeah. And I also think that a lot of hearth practices would be just good for witches to kind of pick and choose at and start developing their house into a sacred space, because we are in a very poo-poo time socially. So why not make your house very safe? Right. And protected. So I think it would be very good for you guys, and you guys can find this online for less than $1 that you have to spend. You could also, like I did, if you can tell, this is from the library. I got this from my library. I think you all need to go get a library card. I have to return these books, just for the record. I'm glad we finally did this episode, because this has to go back to the library expeditiously. However, like I said, go to your library and just pick a book, because they're gonna have very limited books. Let's be real, they're not gonna have everything you want, but it's a good way to read something you would otherwise not have read and learn something from it. Even if it's you learn, oh, this is not for me. Okay, you learned it's not for you. There you go.
That's it.
You will still learn something. You'll be like, this is not my kind of practice.
But
okay,
it's very
I learned
interesting
that.
to learn about.
You still have that knowledge, and you can still be like, okay, I don't want to do this, so I'll do this. Mm-hmm. You've learned something about yourself at very least. So as you can see, go get a library card, go do this, and go learn something. And also, a lot of these books are available through Libby. If you have a library card and can sign up through there, they actually have a lot more books available in PDFs so that you could read on your phone. I use Libby to read as well, but I'm also in a very big library, so I got 2 library cards. That's my episode on Hearth Witchery. Go make your homes special, and tell me about your hearth practices or what you might be interested in starting to figure out how to bring into your practice from this episode. And if you are hearth witches, leave your tips and comments and advice in the comments for us to know, because I do want to add some hearthcraft to my practices.
We will absolutely be commenting on things and having a pinned comment right there. So if we didn't cover anything in this episode, we'll definitely cover it in the comments, so you can have a little anecdote of things that you could do that we didn't necessarily talk about in the video itself, but just to have an idea of where to get started with hearthcraft.
Because your questions, like, I'm gonna be honest, I don't think about things until somebody questions it. I'm like, gotcha, I got an answer for you. However, I wouldn't have had that thought if you did not give me that question.
Make your home magical. Do the cleaning. I was saying earlier to my black people, and I don't want to specifically say black people because there are probably other ethnicities that do this, but every Sunday, your mom would wake up in the morning, put on the Anita Baker, put on the Sade, put on her head wrap, and start cleaning.
Hispanics. This is also at you.
See, that right there, even if they didn't know it, that is a form of hearthcraft, because you are dancing with the music, you're letting that music fill you in, you're taking that frequency and you're cleaning your space. You're making sure that this is a livable space.
It's also a ritual
every Sunday
that they would have.
Y'all.
Every Sunday.
Every Sunday.
So I just wanted to say that it's also a ritual.
And you might not have even known it. I'm having a brain blast over here because my mom did that every Sunday. Cleaned out the garage, cleaned out the basement with the 90s R&B on. It's crazy.
It was always in the Hispanic households, it's always the fucking old school mariachi music that they wake you up at 6 o'clock in the morning. My husband hated it.
A clean home is a happy home, and sometimes a chaotically organized home is also a happy home.
So long as it makes you comfortable and doesn't give you anxiety, whatever your house has to look like to make that happen doesn't matter. Because I could not live in a beige empty nightmare. I just bit my own tongue. I could not live in a beige empty nightmare that did not look well decorated. Like, I want to live in a Marxist, beautiful, whimsy goth kind of vibe. I do not want to live in a beige mom situation. However, I know people that would want to live in that because they didn't have, maybe their mom was a hoarder, and so now they want to go completely 180 and be completely minimalist. I get it. That's just not for me. Just not for me. My organized chaos will be better, and I will love it. Except I need to get at least like 4 air purifiers to get this cat hair out.
I feel so called out right now.
Oh, it's okay. I'm calling myself out right now, too. Don't worry.
I feel so called out. Okay, enough yapping. Let's wrap this up. If you liked this video, because Space does such a wonderful job at explaining things to us without having to talk to us like we're 5, please like, comment, subscribe, turn the notification bell on so you know when we are uploading new videos, because who doesn't want to be first in line for an episode of Witches and Weebs? We've been slacking, but that's okay because we're still going to be first. So the moment that somebody else beats us, we'll shout you out. But until then, it's us.
We will shout you out. Actually, just for the record, the moment somebody beats us in the comments, I'm 100% shouting you motherfucker out.
Right.
You're going to be such a homie.
Shout out
You're going
to
to be our best friends.
Literally. So when we get to our goal, our 100 subscriber goal, we're going to start opening Discord so we can have that community start to build and speak with more people and have them give us ideas so we know what else we could talk about, yap about, upload, research.
What could be learning. What do you guys think we could be really interested in? So please, we want to know you guys so bad. And I want to shout out the fact that we got 54 subscribers now.
Yeah, I'm so excited. It's some people might not look at 54 like big, but we look at it because imagine the 2 of us in a room with 54 people. That's bigger than a classroom. We're basically giving a public speech. I'm gonna be real.
I like 10 people in a room listening to me is a lot.
It's a lecture.
So 54 people in a room listening to me, that's crazy.
Exactly.
Oh my God, that's crazy.
See?
Listen, that's how you have to think about these kind of things, is you have to think about the them in more of a human perspective. Shove those 54 people in a room and you'll be like, damn, they're all here for me?
Right. Like,
what did I do to deserve this?
Wow.
So.
But yes. Thank you for joining us for this episode, and we will see y'all next week. Please make sure you practice safely, practice wisely, and may all of your positive affirmations and manifestations come to fruition, because they will. Magic is real. We have proof of it, and we are not crazy. Well, we're a little crazy, but that's beside the point.
We're definitely a little crazy, but it's a different type of crazy. Everybody stay magical and stay mystical. We'll see you next week.